Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We'll continue our reading from Nectar of Devotion by Srila Prabhupada, originally Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu by Rūpa Gosvāmī. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhete girim yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurum Din Tarinam Paramananda Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Chapter 41. Fraternal Devotion. When a devotee is permanently situated in devotional service and by different symptoms of ecstasy, he has developed and matured a fraternal mellow or flavor in relationship with the personality of Godhead. His feeling is called fraternal love of Godhead. The impetus for such fraternal love of Godhead is God Himself. When one is liberated and discovers his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, the Lord Himself becomes the impetus for increasing fraternal love. The eternal associates of the Lord in Vrindavan have described this as follows. The Lord Hari, whose bodily hue is like the Indraneel jewel, whose smiling is like as beautiful as the kunda flower, whose silk dress is as yellow as golden autumn foliage, whose chest is as beautified with garlands of flowers, and who is always playing upon his flute. This enemy of the Aga demon is always attracting our hearts by wandering about Vrindavan. There are similar statements of fraternal love expressed outside the jurisdiction of Vrindavan. When the sons of Pandu, headed by Maharaj Yudhishthir, saw Krishna in his four-handed form on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, holding his conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower, they completely forgot themselves and became merged in the ocean of nectarian happiness. This shows how the sons of Pandu, King Yudhishthir, Bhim, Arjun, Nakul, and Sahadev were all caught up in fraternal love for Krishna. Sometimes the different names, forms, paraphernalia, and transcendental qualities provoke fraternal love. For instance, Krishna's nice dress, his strongly built body, the all-auspicious symptoms on his body, his knowledge of different languages, his learned teachings in Bhagavad-Gita, his uncommon genius in all fields of endeavor, his exhibition of expert knowledge, his mercy, his chivalry, his behavior as a conjugal lover, his intelligence, his forgiveness, his attraction for all kinds of men, his opulence and his happiness, all provoke fraternal love. The impetus to fraternal love upon seeing the associates of Krishna in Vrindavan is also very natural, for their personal bodily features, their qualities, and their dress are all equal to Krishna's. These associates are always happy in their service to Krishna, and they are generally known as Vayayasyas or friends of the same age. The Vayayasyas are fully confident of protection by Krishna. Devotees sometimes pray, let us offer our respectful obeisances upon the Vayayasyas of Krishna, who are firmly convinced of Krishna's friendship and protection and whose devotion to Krishna is ever fixed. They are fearless and on a level equal with Krishna. They discharge their transcendental loving devotional service. Such eternal Vayasyas are also found beyond the jurisdiction of Vrindavan, in places such as Dwarka and Hastinapur. Except for Vrindavan, all the places of Krishna's pastimes are called Puras or the towns. Mathura, Hastinapur, the capital of the Kurus, are both Puras. Personalities like Arjun, Bhim, Draupadi, and Sridama, Brahmana are counted among Krishna's fraternal devotees in the Puras. How the sons of the Pandavas enjoy Krishna's association is described as follows. When Shri Krishna arrived in Indraprasth, the capital of Kurus, Maharaj Yudhishthir immediately came out to smell the flavor of Krishna's head. It is the Vedic custom that a superior smells the heads of his subordinates when the subordinates offer respect to the superior by touching his feet. Similarly, Arjun and Bhim embrace Krishna with great jubilation, and the two younger brothers, namely Nakul and Sahadev, touch the feet of Krishna with tears in their eyes and offer their respects. In this way, all the five Pandav brothers enjoyed the fraternal friendship of Krishna in transcendental mellow. Of the five Pandavas, Arjun is the most intimately connected with Krishna. He has a nice bow called Gandiv in his hand. His thighs are compared to the trunks of elephants, and his eyes are always reddish. When Krishna and Arjun are together on a chariot, they become celestial beauties, pleasing to the eyes of everyone. It is said that once Arjun was lying on his bed with his head upon Krishna's lap and was talking and joking with Krishna in great relaxation, enjoying Krishna's company with smiling and great satisfaction. As far as the Vaisyas or the friends in Vrindavan are concerned, they become greatly distressed when they cannot see Krishna even for a moment. There is the following prayer by a devotee for the Vaisyas in Vrindavan. All glories to Krishna, Vaisyas who are just like Krishna in their age, qualities, pastimes, dress, and beauty. They are accustomed to playing on their flutes made of palm leaves, and they all have buffalo horn bugles ornamented like Krishna's with jewels such as Indraneel and with gold and coral. They are always jubilant like Krishna. May these glorious companions of Krishna always protect us. The Vaisyas in Vrindavan are in such intimate friendship with Krishna that sometimes they think themselves as good as Krishna. This is an instance of such friendly feeling. When Krishna was holding up Govardhan hill with his left hand, the Vaisyas said, "Dear friend, you have been standing for the last 7 days and nights without any rest. This is very troublesome for us because we see that you have undertaken a severely laborious task. We think, therefore, that you need not continue to stand in that way, holding the hill. You can just transfer it onto Sudama's hand. We are very much aggrieved to see you in this position. If you think that Sudama is not able to support Govardhan hill, then at least you should change hands. Instead of supporting it with your left hand, please transfer it to your right hand so that we can give you your left hand a massage. This is an instance of intimacy, showing how much the Vaisyas considered themselves to be equal to Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, 12th chapter, verse 11, Shukdev Goswami tells King Parikshit, "My dear King, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the learned Transcendentalist. He is the supreme happiness for the impersonalist. He is the supreme worshipable deity for the devotee. And he is just like an ordinary boy to one who is under the spell of Maya. And just imagine, these cowherd boys are now playing with Supreme Person as though they were on an equal level. By this, anyone can understand that these boys must have accumulated heaps of results of pious activities to enable them to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in such intimate friendship." There is a description of Krishna's feeling for his Vaisyas in Vrindavan. He once said to Balaram, "My dear brother, when my companions were being devoured by the Daghasur, hot tears poured down from my eyes, and as they were washing my cheeks, my dear elder brother, for at least one moment, I completely lost myself." Within Gokul, Krishna's Vaisyas are generally divided into 4 groups: well-wishers, friends, confidential friends, intimate friends. Krishna's well-wishers are a little bit older than Krishna and they have some parental affection for him. Because of their being older than Krishna, they always try to protect him from any harm. As such, they sometimes bear weapons so that they can chastise any mischievous persons who want to do harm to Krishna. Counted among the well-wisher friends are Subhadra, Mandali Bhadra, Bhadravardhan Gobhat, Yaksh Indrabhat, Bhadrang, Virbhadra, Mahaguna, Vijaya, and Balbhadra. They are older than Krishna and are always thinking of his welfare. One of the elderly friends said, "My dear Mandali Bhadra, why are you wielding a shining sword as though you are running toward Arishtasur to kill him? My dear Baldev, why are you unnecessarily bearing that heavy plough? My dear Vijaya, don't be unnecessarily agitated. My dear Bhadravardhan, there is no need to make these threatening motions. If you'll all look more closely, you will see that it is only a thundercloud upon Govardhan hill. It is not the Arishtasur in the shape of a bull, as you have imagined." These older well-wishing friends of Krishna had imagined a large cloud to be the Arishtasur, appearing in the shape of a huge bull. In the midst of their excitement, one of them ascertained that it was actually only a cloud on Govardhan hill. He therefore informed others not to take the trouble of worrying about Krishna, because there was no present danger from Arishtasur. Among the well-wisher friends, Mandali Bhadra and Balbhadra are the chiefs. Mandali Bhadra is described as follows. His complexion is yellowish and his dress is very attractive. He always carries a stick of various colors. He wears a peacock feather on his head and always looks very beautiful. Mandali Bhadra's attitude is revealed in this statement. "My dear friends, our beloved Krishna is now very tired from working with the cows in the pasturing grounds and from traveling all over the forest. I can see that he is very fatigued. Let me massage his head silently while he is taking rest in his house. And you, Subala, you just massage his thighs." One devotee described the personal beauty of Baldev as follows. Let me take shelter of the lotus feet of Balaram, whose beauty is enhanced by the earrings touching his cheeks. His face is decorated with tilak made from kasturi musk, and his broad chest is decorated with the garland of gunja, small conch shells. His complexion is as white as a autumn cloud. He wears garments of blue color, and his voice is very grave. His arms are very long, touching his thighs, and he has shown his great strength by killing the Pralamba demon. Let me take shelter of this chivalrous Balram. Baldev's affection for Krishna is illustrated in this statement to Subala, my dear friend. Please inform Krishna not to go to Kaliya's lake today. Today is his birthday, and so I wish to go along with Mother Yashoda to bathe him. Tell him he should not leave the house today. This shows how Balram, Krishna's elder brother, took care of Krishna with parental love within the scope of fraternal affection. Friends who are younger than Krishna, who are always attached to him and who give him all kinds of service, are called ordinary friends or simply friends. Such ordinary friends are called sakhas, and the names of some sakhas are Vishal, Vrishab, Ojasvi, Devaprasth, Varuthap, Marand, Kusuma, Pida, Manibandh, and Karandham. All of these Sakha friends of Krishna seek only to serve him. Sometimes some of them would rise early in the morning and immediately go to Krishna's place and wait at the door to see Krishna and to accompany him to the pasturing grounds. In the meantime, Krishna would be dressed by Mother Yashoda, and when they would see a boy standing at the door, she would call him, "Well, Vishal, why are you standing there? Come here." So, with the permission of Mother Yashoda, he would immediately enter the house, and while Mother Yashoda was dressing Krishna, he would try to help put on Krishna's ankle bells, and Krishna would jokingly strike him with his flute. Then Mother Yashoda would call, "Krishna, what is this? Why are you teasing your friend?" And Krishna would laugh, and the friend would also laugh. These are some of the activities of Krishna's sakhas. Sometimes the sakhas would take care of cows and were going hither and thither, and they would tell Krishna, "Your cows are going here and there, off here and there," and Krishna would thank them. Sometimes when Krishna and sakhas went to the pasturing ground, Krishna would send the demon to kill Krishna. Kamsa would send a demon to kill Krishna. Sorry, I read it wrong earlier. Therefore, almost every day there was a fight with some different kind of demon. After fighting with the demon, Krishna would feel fatigued, and the hairs on his head would be scattered, and the sakhas would immediately come and try to relieve him in different ways. Some friends would say, "My dear Vishala, please take this fan of lotus leaves and fan Krishna so that he may feel some comfort. Varuthap, you just brush the scattered hairs on Krishna's head, which have fallen upon his face. Vrishab, don't talk unnecessarily. Immediately massage Krishna's body. His arms have become tired from fighting and wrestling with that demon." Oh, just see how our friend Krishna has become tired. These are some examples of the treatment given to Krishna by sakhas. One of the sakhas, known as Devaprastha, is described as follows. He is very strong, a really ready scholar, and is very expert in playing ball. He wears a white dress, and he ties his hair into a bunch of a rope. With a rope, whenever there is a fight between Krishna and the demons, Devaprastha is the first to help, and he fights just like an elephant. One of the gopis once said to her friend, "My dear beautiful friends, when Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, was taking rest within the cave of a hill, he was keeping his head on the arms of Sri Rama, and he was putting his hand on Dama's chest. Taking this opportunity, Devaprastha, out of his strong affection for Krishna, immediately began to massage his legs. Such are the activities of Krishna's friends out on the pasturing grounds. The more confidential friends are called Priya Sakhas and they are almost Krishna's age. Because of their very confidential friendship, their behavior is only on the basis of pure friendship. The behavior of other friends is on the ground of paternal love or servitude. But the basic principle of the confidential friends is simply friendship on an equal level. Some confidential friends are as follows: Shridam, Sudam, Dama, Vasudama, Kinkini, Stoka Krishna, Amshu, Bhadrisena, Vilasi, Pundarika, Vitanka, Kalvinka. By their various activities in different pastimes, all of these friends used to give transcendental pleasure to Krishna. The behavior of these confidential friends is described by a friend of Radharani who told Radharani, "My dear graceful Radharani, your intimate friend Krishna is also served by his intimate boyfriends. Some of them cut jokes with him in mild voices, and please him very much by this. For example, Krishna had one Brahmana friend whose name was Madhumangal. This boy would joke by playing the part of a greedy Brahmana. Whenever his friends ate, he would eat more than all others, especially laddus, of which he was very fond. Thereafter, eating more laddus than anybody else, Madhumangal would still not be satisfied and would say to Krishna, "If you give me one more laddu, then I can be pleased to give you my blessing so that your friend Radharani will be very much pleased with you." The Brahmanas are supposed to give blessings to the Vaishyas, farming and merchant caste. And Krishna presented himself as a son of Maharaj Nanda, a Vaishya, so that Brahmana boy was right in giving blessings to Krishna. Then Krishna was very pleased by the friend's blessing, and he would supply him with more and more laddus. Sometimes a confidential friend would come in before Krishna and embrace him with great affection and love. Another friend would then come up from the rear and cover Krishna's eyes with his hands. Krishna would always feel very happy by such dealings with his confidential friends. Out of all these confidential friends, Sridama is considered to be the chief. Sridama used to put a yellow colored dress. He would carry a buffalo turban horn, and his turban was reddish, copper color. His bodily complexion was blackish, and around his neck was a nice garland. He would always challenge Krishna in joking friendship. Let us pray to Sridama to bestow his mercy upon us. Sometimes Sridama used to address Krishna, "Oh, you are so cruel that you left us alone on the bank of the Yamuna, and we were all mad from not seeing you there. Now it is our great fortune that we are able to see you here. If you want to pacify us, you must embrace each one of us with your arms. But believe me, my dear friend, moments absence from you creates great havoc, not only for us, but for the cows also. Everything becomes disarranged, and we become mad after you." There are other friends who are still more confidential. They are called Priya Narma, or intimate friends. Counted among Priya Narma friends are Subal, Arjun, Gandhar, Vasant, and Ujjwal. There was talk among the friends of Radharani and Gopi about these most intimate friends. One Gopi addressed Radharani thus: "My dear Krishangi, O delicate one, just see, Subala is whispering your message to Krishna's ears. How he is delivering the confidential letter of Shyamadasi silently into Krishna's hand. Now he is delivering the betel nuts prepared by Palika into Krishna's mouth, and how he is decorating Krishna with the garland prepared by Taraka. Did you know, my dear friend, that all these most intimate friends of Krishna are always engaged in his service in this way? Out of the many intimate Priyanarmas, Subala and Ujjwala are considered to be most prominent. Subala's body is described as follows: his complexion is just like molten gold. He is very, very dear to Krishna. He always has a garland around his neck, and he wears yellow clothing. His eyes are just like lotus flower petals, and he is so intelligent that by his talking and his moral instructions, all the other friends take the highest pleasure. Let us offer our respectful obeisances to Krishna's friend Subala. The degree of intimacy shared by Krishna and Subala can be understood by the fact that the talks between them were so confidential that no one else could understand what they were saying. The description of Ujjwala, another intimate friend, is given as follows: Ujjwala always wears some garment of orange color, and the movement of his eyes are always very restless. He likes to decorate himself with all kinds of flowers. His bodily hue is almost like Krishna's, and on his neck there is always a necklace of pearls. He is always very dear to Krishna. Let us all worship Ujjwala, the most intimate friend of Krishna. About the confidential service of Ujjwala, this statement is to be found addressed by Radharani to one of her friends. "My dear Radharani, it is impossible for me to keep my prestige. I want to avoid talking to Krishna anymore. But just see, there again is his friend Ujjwala coming to me with his canvassing work. His entreaties are so powerful that it is very difficult for a gopi to resist her love for Krishna, even though she may be very bashful, devoted to her family duties, and most faithful to her husband." The following is a statement by Ujjwala showing his jubilant nature. "My dear Krishna, O killer of Aghasur, you have extended your loving affair so much that you can be compared to the great ocean, which is without limitations. At the same time, the young girls of the world, who are all searching after the perfect lover, have become just like rivers running into this ocean. Under these circumstances, all these rivers of young girls may try to divert their courses to some other place, but at the end they must all come unto you. Among the groups of different friends of Krishna, some are well known from various scriptures and some are well known by popular tradition. There are three divisions among Krishna's friends. Some are eternally in friendship with Krishna, some are elevated demigods, and some are perfected devotees. In all these groups, there are some who by nature are fixed in Krishna's service and are always engaged in giving counsel. Some of them are very fond of joking and naturally cause Krishna to smile by their words. Some of them are by nature very simple, and some by their simplicity they please Lord Krishna. Some of them create wonderful situations by their activities, apparently against Krishna. Some of them are very talkative, always arguing with Krishna and creating a debating atmosphere. And some of them are very gentle and give pleasure to Krishna by their sweet words. All of these friends are very intimate with Krishna and they show expertise in their different activities, their aim always being to please Krishna. Chapter 42, Fraternal Loving Affairs. Krishna's age, his beauty, his bugle, his flute, his conch shell, and his pleasing attitude all provoke love and friendship for him. His exceptional joking abilities, exhibited sometimes by his pretending to be a royal prince, or even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, also gives impetus to devotees developing love for Krishna and friendship. Learned scholars have divided Krishna's age into three periods. The age up to 5 years called Kumara, the age from 6th to the 10th year is called Paganda, and the age from 11th through 15th year is called Kashora, while Krishna is spending his days as cowherd boy. He is in the Kumara and Paganda ages. In the Kashora age, when the Krishna appeared in Gokul, he acted as a cowherd boy. And then when he was 16, he went to Mathura to kill Kamsa. The Kumara age is just suitable for reciprocating the love of child with Mother Yashoda. In the 10th canto, 13th chapter, verse 11 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadev Gosvāmī tells King Parikshit, my dear king, although Lord Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and the beneficiary of all kinds of sacrificial ceremonies, he still used to eat with his cowherd boy friends. This is because at the time he accepted the pastimes of an ordinary boy, keeping his flute under his arms and his bugle on the right side in his belt, along with his cane in his left hand, and he would hold a lump of rice paste with yogurt, and in his fingers would be Pilu, the king of nuts, king of fruits. When he would thus sit among his friends, he would appear that he was the whirl of a lotus flower, and the friends surrounding him were petals. As they thus enjoyed joking among themselves, the denizens of heaven would become struck with wonder and would only stare at the scene. Krishna's Paganda age can be further divided into three periods, namely the beginning, middle, and the end. In the beginning of the Paganda age, there is a very nice reddish luster on his lips. His abdomen is very thin, and on his neck are circles like those of on a conch shell. Sometimes some outside visitors would return to Vrindavan to see Krishna, and upon seeing him again would exclaim, my dear Mukunda, your beauty is gradually increasing, just like the leaf on a banyan tree. My dear lotus-eyed one, your neck is gradually manifesting circles like those of the conch shell, and in the shining moonlight your teeth and cheeks are competing with the Padmarag jewels in their beautiful arrangement. I am sure that your beautiful bodily development is now giving much pleasure to your friends. At this age, Krishna was garlanded with various kinds of flowers. He used to put on silk dress colored with various kinds of dyes. Such beautiful decorations are considered cosmetics for Krishna. Krishna would wear this dress when he used to go into the forest to tend cows. Sometimes he would wrestle there with his different friends, and sometimes they would dance all together in the forest. These are some of the specific activities of the Paganda age. The cowherd friends of Krishna were so happy in his company that they expressed their transcendental feelings within themselves thus, dear Krishna, you are always tending the cows which are scattered all over beautiful Vrindavan. You have a beautiful garland, a small conch shell, a peacock feather on your turban, yellow-colored silk cloth, decorations of karnikar flowers on your ears, and a malika flower garland on your chest, appearing so beautiful when you pretend just like an actor to be fighting with us. You give us unlimited transcendental bliss. When Krishna is more grown up in the middle age of Paganda, his nails become finely sharp, and his cheeks become lustrous and round. On the two sides of his waist above his belt, there are distinct lines of folded skin called Trivali. The cowherd boyfriends of Krishna felt very proud of their association with him. At the same time, The tip of his nose defeated the beauty of sesame flowers, the luster of his cheeks defeated the glow of pearls, and the two sides of his body were exquisitely beautiful. In this age, Krishna wore a silk dress that glittered like lightning. His head was decorated with a silk turban covered with gold lace, and his hand he carried a stick about 36 inches long. Seeing this exquisitely beautiful dress of Krishna, one devotee addressed his friend in this manner: "My dear friend, just look at Krishna. See how he's carrying in his hand a stick which is bound up and down with golden rings. How his turban, which is gold with golden lace, is showing such a beautiful luster, and how his dress is giving his friends the highest transcendental pleasure." At the end of Krishna's Bhagavad age, Krishna's hair sometimes hangs down to his hips and sometimes it becomes scattered. In this age, his two shoulders become higher and broader, and his face is always decorated with marks of tilak. When his beautiful hair scatters over his shoulders, it appears to be Goddess of Fortune embracing him, and this embracing is highly relished by his friends. Subalavan addressed him in this way: "My dear Keshava, your round turban, the lotus flower in your hand, the vertical marks of tilak on your forehead, your kumkum flavored musk, and all of your beautiful bodily features are defeating me today, although I am usually stronger than you or any of your friends. Since this is so, I do not know how these features of your body can fail to defeat the pride of all the young girls of Vrindavan. When I am so defeated by this beauty, what chance is there for those who are naturally very simple and flexible?" At this age, Krishna took pleasure in whispering into the ears of his friends, and the subject of his talks was beauty of the gopis who were just tarrying before them. Subalavan addressed Krishna thus: "My dear Krishna, you are very cunning. You can understand the thoughts of others. Therefore, I am whispering within your ears that all of these 5 gopis who are most beautiful have been attracted by your dress, and I believe that Cupid has entrusted them with the responsibility of conquering you." In other words, the beauty of the girls, that is, gopis, was capable of conquering Krishna, although Krishna is the conqueror of all universes. The symptoms of the Keshora age have already been described, and it is at this age that the devotees generally most appreciate Krishna. Krishna with Radhana is worshipped as Kishora Kishori. Krishna does not increase his age beyond this form of Kishore, and it is confirmed in Brahma Samhita that although he is the oldest personality, he has innumerable different forms. His original form is always youthful. In the picture of Krishna on the battlefield, we can see he is youthful, although at that time he was old enough to have sons, grandsons, and great grandsons. The cowherd boyfriends of Krishna once said: "Dear Krishna, you need not decorate your body with so many ornaments. Your transcendental features are themselves so beautiful that you do not require any ornamentation." At this age, whenever Krishna begins to vibrate his flute early in the morning, all of his friends immediately get up from bed just to join him in going to the pasturing grounds. One of the friends once said: "My dear cowherd friends, the sound of Krishna's flute from above Govardhan Hill is telling us that we need not go to search him out on the bank of Yamuna." Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, told her husband: "My dear Panchmukha, 5-faced, just look at the Pandavas. After hearing the sound of Krishna's conch shell, known as Panchana, they have regained their strength and are just like lions." At this age, Krishna has dressed himself up exactly like Radharani, just to please her, just to create fun run among her friends. He put her golden earrings, and because he was blackish, he smeared the pulp of kumkum all over his body in order to become as fair as she. By seeing this dress, Krishna's friend Subal became very astonished. Krishna played with his intimate friends, sometimes by fighting or wrestling with their arms, sometimes by playing ball, sometimes by playing chess, sometimes they carried one another on their shoulders, and sometimes they exhibited their expertness at whirling logs. And the cowherd friends used to please Krishna by sitting together with him on couches or swings, by lying down on their bodies. These activities lying together on their beds, not bodies, by joking together and swimming in the pool. All these activities are called anubhav. Whenever all the friends would assemble in the company of Krishna, they would immediately engage in all these functions, especially in dancing together. Regarding the wrestling, one friend once said, Krishna, my dear Krishna, my dear friend, O killer of the Agareman, you are very popular. We are very proudly wandering among your friends, trying to exhibit your arms as are very strong. Is it that you are nervous of me? I know that you cannot defeat me in wrestling, and I also know that you are sitting idly for a long time because you were hopeless of defeating me. All the friends were very daring and would risk any difficulty because they were confident that Krishna would help them to be victorious in all adventures. They used to sit together and advise one another about what to do, sometimes inducing one another to be engaged in welfare work. Sometimes they would offer betel nuts to one another, decorate one another's face with tilak or smear pulp of chandan or one another's body. Sometimes, for the sake of an amusement, they would decorate their faces in different ways. Other business of the friends was that each of them wanted to defeat Krishna. Sometimes they used to snatch his clothes or snatch away his flowers from his hands. Sometimes one would try to induce another to decorate his body. And failing this, they were always ready to fight, challenging one another to combat in wrestling. These were some of the general activities of Krishna. Another important pastime of Krishna was that they served as messengers to and fro from gopis. They introduced the gopis to Krishna and canvassed for Krishna. When gopis were in disagreement with Krishna, these friends would support Krishna's either side in his presence. When the gopis were in disagreement with Krishna, these friends would support Krishna's side in his presence, but when Krishna was not present, they would support the sides of the gopis. In this way, sometimes supporting one's side, sometimes the other, they would talk very privately with much whispering in the ears, although none of the business was very serious. The friends of Krishna were sometimes engaged in collecting flowers, decorating his body with valuable ornaments and trinkets, dancing before him, singing, helping him herd the cows, massaging his body, preparing flower garlands, and sometimes fanning his body. These were some of the primary duties of the servants of Krishna. The friends of and servants of Krishna were combined together. In serving him, and all of their activities are known as Anubhav. When Krishna came out of the Yamuna after chastising the Kali and Nag, Sridhama wanted to embrace him first, but he could not raise his arms because of his great feeling of respect. When Krishna used to play on his flute, the vibration appeared just like the roaring of clouds in the sky during the constellation of Swati. According to Vedic astronomical calculations, if there is rain during the constellation of Swati star, any rain falling on the sea will produce pearls, and rain falling on a serpent will produce jewels. Similarly, when Krishna's flute roared like a thundercloud under the Swati constellation, the resulting perspiration on Sridhama's body appeared to be just like pearls. When Krishna and Subala were embracing one another, Srimati Radharani became a little envious. And hiding her hot temperament, she said, My dear Subala, you are very fortunate because even in the presence of superiors, you and Krishna have no hesitation in putting your arms on each other's shoulders. I think it must be admitted that in your previous lives you have succeeded in many kinds of austerities. The idea is that although Radharani was accustomed to putting her arms on Krishna's shoulders, it was not possible for her to do such a thing in the presence of her superiors. Whereas Subala could do so freely, Radharani therefore praised his good fortune. When Krishna entered the lake of Kaliya, his intimate friends became so perturbed that their bodily colors faded, and they all produced horrible gurgling sounds. At that time, all of them fell down on the ground as if unconscious. Similarly, when there was a forest fire, all of Krishna's friends neglected their own protection and Krishna's friends neglected their own protection and surrounded Krishna on all sides to protect him from the flames. This behavior of friends toward Krishna is described by thoughtful poets as Vyabhichari. In Vyabhichari ecstasy, love for Krishna, there is sometimes madness, dexterity, fear, laziness, jubilation, pride, dizziness, meditation, disease, forgetfulness, and humbleness. These are some of the common symptoms at the stage of Vyabhichari, ecstatic love for Krishna. Ecstatic love for Krishna. When there are dealings between Krishna and his friends which are completely devoid of any feelings of respect, and they all treat one another on an equal level, such ecstatic love in friendship is called sthai. When one is situated in this confidential, friendly relationship with Krishna, one shows symptoms of love such as attraction, affection, affinity, and attachment. An example of sthai was exhibited when Krishna told Akrura, my dear son of Gandhini, please ask Krishna that when shall I be able to embrace him in my arms? When there is full knowledge of Krishna's superiority and yet in dealing with him on friendly terms, respectfulness is completely absent. That stage is called affection. There is one brilliant example of this affection when the demigods headed by Lord Shiva were offering respectful prayers to Krishna, describing the glorious opulences of the Lord. Arjuna stood before him with his hand on his shoulder and brushing the dust from his peacock feather. When the Pandavas were banished by Duryodhana and forced to live incognito in the forest, no one could trace out where they were staying. At that time, the great sage Narad met Lord Krishna and said, my dear Mukunda, although you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-powerful person, by making friendship with you, the Pandavas have become bereft of their illegitimate right to the kingdom of the world. And moreover, they are now living in the forest incognito. Sometimes they must work as sometimes some things must work as ordinary laborers in someone else's house. These symptoms appear to be very inauspicious materially, but the beauty is that the Pandavas have not lost their faith and love for you. In spite of all these tribulations, in fact, they're always thinking of you, chanting your name in ecstatic friendship. Another example of acute affection for Krishna is given in 10th canto, 15th chapter, verse 18th of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the pasturing ground, Krishna left a little tired and wanted to take rest, so he lay down on the ground. At the same time, many cowherd boys assembled there and with great affection began to sing suitable songs so that Krishna would rest very nicely. There is an example of friendship between Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. When lightning was going on, Ashwathama, the son of Dronacharya, the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when the fighting was going on, Ashwathama, son of Dronacharya, unceremoniously attacked Krishna. Although according to the prevailing rules of chivalry, one's chariot driver should never be attacked by the enemy, Ashwathama behaved heinously in so many ways that he did not hesitate to attack Krishna's body. Although Krishna was acting only as a charioteer for Arjuna, when Arjuna saw that Ashwathama was releasing various kinds of arrows to hurt Krishna, he immediately stood in front of the Kamsa. At the same time, although Krishna was being harmed by these arrows, he felt ecstatic love for Krishna, and the arrows appeared to him like showers of flowers. Like showers of flowers. He felt ecstatic love for Krishna, and the arrows appeared to him like showers of flowers. There's another instance of ecstatic love for Krishna and friendship. Once a cowherd boy named Rishabh was collecting flowers from the forest to prepare a garland to be offered to Krishna. The sun reached its zenith, and although the sunshine was scorching hot, Rishabh felt it to be like a moonshine. That is the way rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord. When devotees are put into great difficulties, even like Pandavas as described above, they feel all the miserable conditions to be great facilities for serving the Lord. Another serving the Lord. Another instance of Arjun's friendship with Krishna was described by Narad, who reminded Krishna when Arjun was learning the art of shooting arrows. He could not see you for so many days, but when you arrived there, he stopped all his activities and immediately embraced you. This means that even though Arjun was engaged in learning his military art, Arjun was engaged in learning about the military art, he had not forgotten Krishna for a moment. And as soon as there was an opportunity to see Krishna, Arjun immediately embraced him. One servant of Krishna named Patri once addressed him like this: "My dear Lord, you protected the cowherd boys from the hunger of the Agasu demon, and you protected them from the poisonous snakes of the Kaliya snake, and you also saved them from the you also saved them from the fierce forest fire. You protected, I read that again. You protected the cowherd boys from the hunger of the Agasu demon. You protected them from the poisonous effects of Kaliya snake, and you also saved from the fierce forest fire. But I am suffering from your separation, which is almost more severe than the hunger of Agasur, the poison of the lake Kaliya, and the burning of the forest fire. So why should you not protect me from these pangs of separation?" Another friend said, "My dear enemy of Kamsa, since you have left here, okay. So why should you not protect me from the pangs of separation?" Other friends once told Krishna, "My dear enemy of Kamsa, since you have left us, the heat of separation has become extraordinary, and this heat is felt more severely when we understand that in Bandiravan you are being refreshed by the waves of the cooling river known as Bhanu." My dear enemy of Kamsa, seems you have left, the heat of separation has become extraordinary, and the heat has felt so more severely than we understand that in Bandiravan you were being refreshed by the waves of cooling rivers known as Bhanu Tanaya Radharani. The purport is that when Krishna was engaged with Radharani, the cowherd boys headed by Subal were feeling great separation, and that was unbearable for them. Another friend addressed Krishna thus: "My dear Krishna, O killer of Agasur, when you left Vrindavan to kill King Kamsa in Mathura, all the cowherd boys became bereft of their four bhutas, the elements earth, water, fire, and space, and the fifth bhuta, the air, was flowing very rapidly within their nostrils. When Krishna went to Mathura to kill King Kamsa, all the cowherd boys became so afflicted by the separation that they almost died. When a person is dead, it is said that he has given up the five elements known as bhutas, as the body again mixes with the five elements from which it was prepared. In this case, when a person is dead, it is said that he has given up five elements as bhutas, as the body again mixes with the five elements from which it was prepared. In this case, although the four elements earth, fire, water, and ether were already gone, the remaining element air was still very prominent and was blowing through their nostrils furiously. In other words, after Krishna left Vrindavan, the cowherd boys were always anxious about what would happen in his fight with King Kamsa. Another friend was once informed Krishna, when one of your friends was feeling much separation from you, there were tears covering his lotus eyes, and so the black thrones of sleep became discouraged from entering his eyes and left that place. When there is a lotus flower, the black thrones fly into it to collect honey, and the eyes of Krishna's friends are compared to lotus flowers. And because they were full of tears, the black thrones of sleep could not collect honey from his lotus eyes and therefore left the place. In other words, because he was too much afflicted, his eyes were full of tears and he could not sleep. This is an example of staying up at night because of separation from Krishna. An example of helplessness is described in the following statement. Due to Krishna's departure from Vrindavan to Mathura, Krishna's dearest cowherd boys felt as mentally light as possible. They were like fragments of cotton lighter than the air and were floating in the air without any shelter. In other words, the minds of the cowherd boys became almost vacant on account of Krishna's separation. An example of impatience was also shown by the cowherd boys when Krishna went to Mathura. Out of the sorrow of separation, all these boys forgot to take care of their cowherding and tried to forget all the melodious songs they used to sing in the pasturing ground. At last, they had no desire to live anymore, being separated from Krishna. An example of stillness was described by a friend of Krishna who informed him in Mathura that all the cowherd boys had become just like leafless trees on the tops of hills. They appeared almost naked, being skinny and frail, and did not carry any fruits or flowers. He informed Krishna that all the cowherd boys residing in Vrindavan were as still as the trees at the top of the hills. Sometimes they felt diseased from their separation from Krishna, and being so greatly disappointed, they were aimlessly wandering on the banks of the Yamuna. There is also an example of madness caused by separation from Krishna. When Krishna was absent from Vrindavan, all the cowherd boys became bewildered, and having given up all kinds of activities, they appeared to be mad and forgot all their regular business. They were sometimes lying down on the ground, sometimes rolling in the dust, sometimes laughing, and sometimes running very swiftly. All these symptoms gave them the appearance of madmen. One friend of Krishna's criticized him by saying, "My dear Lord, you have become the king of Mathura after killing Kamsa, and that is very good news for us. But at Vrindavan, all the residents have become blind from their continuous crying over your absence. They are full only of anxieties and are not cheered at all by your becoming the king of Mathura." Sometimes there were also signs of death caused by separation from Krishna. Once Krishna was told, "My dear enemy of Kamsa, because of their separation from you, the cowherd boys are suffering too much, and they are now lying down in the valleys, breathing only slightly in order to sympathize with the boys' regrettable condition. Even the forest friends, the deer, are shedding tears." In the Mathura Khanda chapter of the Skanda Puran, there is a description of Krishna and Balram surrounded by all the cowherd boys, always engaged in taking care of the cows and calves. When Krishna was met by Arjun at the potter's shop in the city of Drupad Nagar, because of the similarity of their bodily features, they made intimate friendship. This is an instance of friendship caused by the attraction of similar bodies. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 71st chapter, verse 27, it is stated that when Krishna arrived in the city of Indraprasth, Bhim was so overwhelmed with the joy that, with tears in his eyes and a smiling face, he immediately embraced his maternal cousin. Following him were his brothers Nakul and Sahadev, along with Arjun, and they all became so overwhelmed at seeing Krishna that with full satisfaction they embraced the Lord, who is known as Achyut, the infallible. There is a similar statement about the cowherd boys of Vrindavan. When Krishna was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all the cowherd boys came to see him, wearing jeweled earrings in their ears. Becoming so greatly overjoyed, they extended their arms and embraced Krishna as their old friend. These are the instances of full satisfaction in friendship with Krishna. In the 10th canto, 12th chapter, verse 12 of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that even after undergoing severe penances and austerities and performing the yogic principles, the great mystic yogis can hardly become eligible to achieve the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. But the same personality of Godhead Krishna is easily available to the vision of the residents of Vrindavan. This means there is no comparison to the great fortune of these devotees. The friendly relationship of the cowherd boys with Krishna is a particular type of spiritual ecstasy, almost similar to the ecstasy of conjugal love. This ecstasy of loving affairs between the cowherd boys and Krishna is very difficult to explain. Great expert devotees like Rūpa Gosvāmī express their astonishment at the inconceivable feelings which are in Krishna and his cowherd boyfriends. This particular type of ecstatic love shared between Krishna and his confidential friends further develops into parental love, and on from there it may develop into conjugal love, the most exalted humor or mellow of ecstatic love between Lord Krishna and his devotees. Thank you for joining. Next time we will continue from chapter 43 Prem Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.